Vanessa's perfectly manicured nails tapped against her tablet, her gaze fixed across the glass conference table. "Your compensation package is outdated," she stated. "No room for debate. We're slashing your base pay by 40% and completely overhauling commissions." I'm Jeffrey Maddox, 52, with hair that started going salt and pepper in my 30s. For 15 years, I'd been the senior vice president of sales at Trillick Woodworks, an Austin-based commercial millwork supplier. My title was SVP, but my real job was keeping the company afloat. I personally oversaw our top 10 accounts, and they were more than just clients. They were relationships forged over thousands of calls, countless shared meals, and 15 years of preemptively solving their problems. I knew their kids' names, their golf scores, even their favorite vacation spots. When something went wrong, they called me before they ever called their own internal teams. "This new structure will incentivize growth," Vanessa announced, pushing a document across the table. "Everyone's compensation is being adjusted to align with industry standards." I skimmed the details. A 40% base salary cut. Commission overhaul designed to make my current earnings impossible, even with increased sales and reduced benefits. Vanessa Claymore, with her designer suits and Harvard MBA, had arrived 3 months prior, fresh from the acquisition. Her initial weeks were spent buried in spreadsheets and private meetings with the new parent company. When she looked at me, I knew what she saw. An expensive, old-school relic, someone who should simply be thankful to still have a job. "Is there a timeline for this transition?" I asked, my voice steady. "Effective immediately," she replied, a tight smile on her face. "We need everyone aligned with the new direction." I closed the folder, rose, and extended my hand. "Thank you for the clarity." Her smile vanished. She'd clearly anticipated an argument, a negotiation, perhaps even desperation. Instead, she received a firm handshake and a quiet departure. That afternoon, from her office, I caught her watching me pack a few personal effects into a cardboard box. Nothing dramatic, just a graduation photo of my daughter as a client's pen. Set an old sales award. On my way out, I exchanged a silent nod with Thomas, our CFO, who'd been with me since day one. His eyes conveyed what his words couldn't. This wasn't merely about cost-cutting, it was about cutting me out. In the parking lot, no slammed doors, no screeching tires. I simply put the box in my trunk, adjusted my rearview mirror, and drove. Off, taking with me 15 years of client relationships that Vanessa had just casually handed to our competitors. I'd built that sales department from the ground up. When I joined Trillick in 2010, we were an $8 million regional operation. Last year, my team pushed $73 million, with my personal accounts contributing over $12 million. My father, who ran a small cabinet shop in Dallas, taught me everything about wood, joinery, and finishes by the time I was 16, after college. I drifted through a few sales roles until Trillick, or something just clicked. I truly understood the products, having grown up immersed in them. I could seamlessly discuss technical specs with architects and pricing with purchasing managers. In a single meeting, Oliver Wainwright, the owner, recognized my unique contribution. "You're not just selling product," he'd often say, "you're selling trust." He gave me the autonomy to build my department my way. I hired ambitious young reps and instilled in them Oliver's core belief: relationships far outweigh mere transactions. When Oliver sold Trillick to Driftmore Labs last year, I felt concerned, but not panicked. Acquisitions are a natural part of the business cycle, and I'd navigated changes before. The initial red flags appeared when they began replacing the executive team, a new CEO from outside our industry, marketing director focused solely on digital presence, and then Vanessa, with her polished presentations on operational efficiency and resource optimization. The shifts started subtly. Travel budgets were cut. Client entertainment now needed multiple approvals. My weekly executive meetings dwindled to monthly and became as needed. "We're just streamlining," Vanessa had assured me early on. Nothing personal. But it was personal when she started scheduling calls with my key accounts, deliberately excluding me. It was personal when she challenged the long-standing discounts that had kept clients loyal through years of price hikes. And it was personal when she brought in 2 of her former colleagues as new regional managers, citing a need for fresh perspectives on my team. Thomas, our CFO, tried to warn me during a quarterly budget review. They're scrutinizing the sales compensation structure closely, he whispered, glancing at the door. Especially the legacy arrangements. I was the last legacy arrangement standing. A week before that fateful meeting, I saw Vanessa at lunch with Gabriella, my newest hire. They were deep in conversation, heads close. As I entered the restaurant, Gabriella quickly looked down while Vanessa offered an overly casual wave, as if my presence was a delightful coincidence. Later, when I asked Gabriella about the lunch, she avoided my gaze, mumbling, just getting to know the team. I knew then, without a doubt, what was coming. Not the precise details, but the inevitable direction. That evening, after Vanessa's pronouncement, I sat in my home office, gazing at a decade of sales reports. 15 years of consistent growth, 15 years of transforming Trilock Woodworks into an industry leader, 15 years of loyalty repaid with a dismissive, "Your package is outdated." My phone buzzed. A text from Frank Donnelly, purchasing director at Weston Commercial, our largest client. Heard rumors about big changes at Trilock. Everything okay? Call me. Frank and I had partnered for 12 years. I'd supported him through the company, restructures, a divorce, and his son's college applications. We were far more than business associates. We were friends. I poured a double bourbon and dialed him. Jeffrey, he answered instantly. What the hell is going on over there? Just got a call from some woman saying she's taking over our account. That would be Vanessa Claymore, our new sales director, I replied, maintaining a neutral tone. Well, she immediately started talking about reviewing our pricing structure and implementing some new vendor management system. Frank's voice hardened. We have a contract and established processes that work. I don't need someone dictating how I manage my suppliers. I took a slow sip, allowing the silence to linger. Jeffrey, Frank's voice softened. Are you staying? Because if you're not, we need to talk. In that precise moment, everything became crystal clear. My true value wasn't in my title or even in the sales figures. It was in 15 years of earned trust. 15 years of anticipating and solving problems, not creating them. 15 years of relationships that could literally walk out the door with. Me. I'm considering my options, I said cautiously. Well, consider this, he countered. If you land somewhere else, call me first, before I have to deal with Harvard Barbie again. After we hung up, I opened my laptop and drafted an email to Daniel Harrison at Pinnacle Supply Group. We'd met at a conference the previous year. He'd mentioned their interest in expanding their commercial millwork division. I saved it. 2 drafts, not sending it just yet. The following morning, 3 more clients called, all echoing similar concerns. Vanessa was already reaching out, implementing changes, actively disrupting relationships she clearly didn't comprehend. I drove to the office one final time to clear my desk. As I packed, Thomas quietly slipped me a folded paper. Your client. Retention numbers, he murmured, and their average annual spend. Thought you might need it. I nodded fully. Grasping his unspoken message, he understood my true worth, even if Vanessa remained blind to it. That afternoon, I finalized my resignation, sent the email to Daniel at Pinnacle, and contacted my lawyer to review my non-compete agreement. My suspicion was confirmed. It applied to products, not clients. I was restricted from selling competitive millwork for 6 months, but nothing prohibited me from nurturing my existing relationships. The anger had dissipated, replaced by a laser. Focus and absolute clarity. There's an undeniable power in being underestimated, in being dismissed as obsolete. It means they won't ever see you coming until it's far too late. I spent 2 weeks assessing my opportunities before accepting. Daniel's offer at Pinnacle Supply Group. The position was ideal. Senior Vice President of Business Development, with complete autonomy to establish my own division. We want your expertise. Jeffrey, Daniel affirmed during our final meeting. You understand this industry. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. The following day, I called Vanessa to discuss my resignation and a transition strategy. I offered to stay for 2 weeks to ensure a seamless handoff of my accounts. That won't be necessary, she stated coolly. We've already connected with your clients. Gabriella will manage the transition.
Hey.
These relationships are intricate. I explained. Each account has nuances that require time and understanding. We have all your notes in the CRM, she interjected. And frankly, your approach was quite antiquated. We're deploying a more data-driven client management strategy. I could have argued, but there was no point. Opinion of me had been set the moment she arrived. I'll have HR process your exit paperwork, she finished. Please return all company property by week's end. 3 days later, I had lunch with Frank from Weston Commercial. He'd ignored Gabriella's calls, and Vanessa had already escalated the issue to his superior. Your replacement sent me a client satisfaction survey with 48 questions, Frank reported, shaking his head. Then she followed up with a presentation on their new customer success metrics. I don't need metrics, Jeffrey. I need someone who understands our business. I nodded, keeping my observations impartial. I had no intention of disparaging Trillick. So, where are you headed next? Frank inquired directly. I'm joining Pinnacle as SVP of Business Development. Frank's eyebrow rose. Interesting. They've been trying to win our business for years. I took a sip of water. I start in 2 weeks, well, Frank said, pushing his business card toward me. Call me once you're settled. The following day, a certified letter arrived from Trelock's legal department. It reiterated my non-compete obligations and warned against any improper solicitation of their clients, listing every major account I'd managed by name. That afternoon, my phone rang. It was Harold Lang, CEO of Northwell Construction, another top 10 client. Jeffrey, what the hell? This new woman is attempting to alter our payment terms. Says our account structure needs optimization. We've been on Net 45 for a decade, no longer with Trillock, I responded cautiously. Yeah, I figured that out when she called. Where did you land? I briefly outlined my new role at Pinnacle. Before I could finish, he interjected, they handle similar product lines, right? Similar, yes. Good. Call me Monday. I want to discuss options. By week's end, 5 more clients had called with identical patterns, complaints about Vanessa's methods, questions about my new role, and requests to connect once I'd officially started. I hadn't solicited a single client. They were proactively reaching out to me. On my final official day, Vanessa called out of the blue. I understand you've been in contact with Trillick clients, she began, her voice strained. I have spoken. With some people, yes. Many of them are personal friends after 15 years. We consider those proprietary business relationships, she retorted. Any attempt to redirect that business would constitute a breach of your separation agreement. I understand my obligations, I replied calmly. Good, she snapped, because the last thing you want is a legal battle with Driftmore's attorneys. After hanging up, I forwarded the call recording to my lawyer, the same one who'd confirmed my non-compete only restricted me from selling millwork for 6 months. Nothing prevented me from offering other construction supplies to those same clients through Pinnacle. And nothing prevented those clients from choosing to follow me. Vanessa had just exposed her first true fear. She was finally beginning to grasp the full implications of pushing me out the door. My first day at Pinnacle brought a striking revelation. We've been trying to penetrate Trelock's market for years, Daniel confessed during our morning meeting. Your predecessor spent 18 months courting Weston Commercial and never got past their purchasing department. Frank Donnelly doesn't trust easily, I confirmed. Daniel leaned in. Here's what puzzles me. Trelock's client retention rate is nearly 95%, while the industry average hovers around 72%. What's their secret? I nearly chuckled. Their secret was literally sitting across from him. It's no secret, I explained. It's relationships. When Oliver ran the company, he understood that contracts might secure clients on paper. But genuine relationships foster loyalty even when competitors offer lower prices. Daniel nodded slowly. And the new management doesn't grasp that, the new management views relationships as inefficient, I clarified. Vanessa wants automated systems, not personal phone calls. Before I could elaborate further, my assistant interrupted with an urgent message. Thomas Trelock's CFO requested a meeting. We arranged to connect at a discreet downtown bar after work. Thomas appeared agitated, constantly glancing over. his shoulder as I approached. "I really shouldn't be here," he blurted out. "But you are," I responded, ordering us both drinks. Thomas slid a folder across the table. "The board meeting was yesterday. Thought you should see this." Inside lay a copy of Vanessa's quarterly strategy presentation. The initial pages contained standard projections and marketing plans. Then I found it. Client transition strategy, Maddox accounts. The plan meticulously detailed migrating my former clients to Gabriella and 2 new account managers. It even included talking points for handling objections about my departure and a relationship reclamation timeline. But what truly stunned me were the financial projections, revealing my clients represented not $12 million in annual revenue as I'd always estimated, but $17.3 million, nearly 24% of Treelock's total revenue. "They never told you what your book was really worth," Thomas whispered. Oliver knew, but after the acquisition, he shrugged. "Why are you showing me this?" Thomas took a long gulp of his drink. "Because what they're doing isn't right. Because Vanessa's already missing her forecasts. She told the board it's temporary disruption, but the numbers don't lie." He tapped the folder. "She's already lost Northwell, hasn't she?" And neither confirmed nor denied. "Client decisions were no longer my concern. It's going to get worse," Thomas continued. "She's implementing price increases across all legacy accounts next month. The board approved it based on her analysis that we've been underpricing the market for years." Now I understood. Vanessa hadn't simply wanted me gone to reduce my compensation. She viewed my client relationships as an obstacle to her aggressive revenue strategy. With me removed, she could freely raise prices, alter terms, and impose new systems designed to extract more short-term profit from the very relationships I'd spent years cultivating. "There's something else," Thomas added, his voice dropping. "They've been auditing your expense reports going back 3 years, looking for any irregularities." "They won't find any," I stated. "I know that, but they're building a narrative. If clients start leaving, they need someone to blame." As Thomas left, he paused. "I'm updating my resume. Just thought you should know." Driving home, a strange sense of calm settled over me. I wasn't just discovering Vanessa's opinion. I was realizing what Treelock had truly thought of me all along. My value was evident in there. Financial figures, yet absent from my pay. They were content to reap the benefits of my relationships while quietly plotting to exploit them for greater profit once. I was gone. The truth wasn't merely that Vanessa had underestimated me. It was that Treelock had undervalued me for years. 2 months into my new role at Pinnacle, I'd found my stride. My office offered a view of downtown Austin, and my small, expanding team included 2 young sales representatives I'd personally selected. I hadn't directly solicited any of my former clients. I didn't have to. They sought me out. Harold from Northwell called first the day after Treelock implemented their price increase. "That's a 14% hike with no warning," he fumed. "Can Pinnacle match our original pricing?" We could, and we did, while also providing value-added services Treelock never offered. Next came Westerly Developers, then Regional Builders, followed by Austin Modern Construction. Each had identical grievances: unexpected price increases, inflexible new policies, and impersonal service. By the close of my second month, 4 of my former top 10 accounts had transferred their business to Pinnacle, ensured every transition was seamless. My team worked weekends to guarantee impeccable first orders, and I personally visited job sites to oversee deliveries. Word quickly spread through the industry. Following Jeffrey Maddox to Pinnacle meant superior service at more competitive prices. Then my phone rang. It was Vanessa. "We need to talk," she said, her customary confidence now tinged with barely concealed panic. I agreed to meet at a coffee shop close to Pinnacle's office. Vanessa arrived 15 minutes early, already cradling a latte when I entered. "This has to stop," she began without pleasantries. "What, precisely?" I asked. "You know perfectly well, poaching our clients." I stirred my coffee. "I haven't solicited a single Treelock client." She snapped, then caught herself. "4 major accounts have deserted us in 8 weeks. Every one of them mentioned you by name. Clients make their own decisions, I stated. Vanessa leaned forward. We can do this the easy way or the hard way, Jeffrey. Easy means you back off, and we won't pursue legal action for breach of contract. There's no breach, I responded calmly. My non-compete restricts me from selling millwork for 6 months. Pinnacle's construction supply division does not compete with Treelock's millwork. Her eyes narrowed. You're exploiting a loophole. I am abiding by the exact terms of an agreement your legal team drafted, I corrected, taking a sip of coffee. Perhaps they should have been more meticulous. The board is asking questions, she conceded, her voice softening. About client retention? About revenue projections? That sounds like an internal Treelock matter, I replied. She attempted a new tactic. What do you want? A consulting arrangement. A finder's fee for leaving certain accounts untouched. I nearly chuckled. She still hadn't grasped it. I'm not interested in arrangements, I said, rising. I'm interested in excelling at my job. The rest takes care of itself. Following. Dave Frank from Weston Commercial called. Their 3-year contract with Treelock was nearing its renewal date. We're putting it out to bid, he informed me. Vanessa's been calling me every day, offering to beat any competitor's price by 5%. That's a strong offer, I admitted. Is it? He countered. Because I'm considering more than just price, Jeffrey. I need someone who genuinely understands our business. Someone who picks up the phone at 7 p.m. when a project is in deep trouble. 2 weeks later, Weston awarded Pinnacle a 2-year supply contract valued at $4.2 million annually. It was a significant triumph, the kind that generated headlines in industry publications. That same day, an email arrived from Thomas. It merely contained a forwarded internal Treelock message announcing Vanessa's reassignment to strategic development initiatives while the company sought a new sales director. I didn't respond to Thomas or contact anyone at Treelock, simply forwarded. Weston's signed contract to Daniel with a brief note, first of many. Planning to hit $20 million in new business by year-end, the wheels were irrevocably in motion. And Vanessa was only just beginning to grasp the true cost of her severe miscalculation. 6 months after joining Pinnacle, I stood in the company's conference room. My team gathered around me. On the wall-mounted screen, our quarterly performance report shone $13.7 million in new business, with projections to reach $22 million by year-end. 8 of my former top 10 Treelock accounts had transitioned with me to Pinnacle. Daniel entered, carrying a bottle of champagne. The board just approved your division expansion plan, he declared. Additional staff, increased marketing budget. Everything you requested. As glasses circulated, my phone buzzed. A text from Thomas. Treelock Q3 earnings call in 30 minutes. Might want to listen in. I excused myself from the celebration to dial into the call. Treelock's new CEO, Raymond Peters, sounded strained as he addressed investors. While we anticipated some disruption following our strategic restructuring, sales have underperformed against projections. We've experienced unexpected client attrition. In our commercial division, an analyst interrupted, can you quantify that attrition? We're seeing estimates that Treelock has lost nearly 20% of its annual revenue in the past 2 quarters. Those numbers are speculative. Raymond deflected. We're implementing an aggressive client retention strategy. Is it accurate that your largest account, Weston Commercial, recently signed with Pinnacle Supply Group? Another analyst pressed. The silence that followed was deafening. We're in ongoing discussions with all our key accounts, Raymond finally responded. As the call concluded, I received an email from Gabriella, my former hire, who'd chosen Vanessa's. Sighed. The subject line, any openings at Pinnacle? I rejoined the celebration, politely declining champagne. Daniel noticed my expression. Everything okay? Just got some confirmation, I replied. That afternoon, an industry newsletter broke the news. Treelock Woodworks struggles after exodus of key accounts. The article specifically cited my move to Pinnacle and the subsequent client migration, quoting an anonymous Treelock employee, who stated the company had fundamentally misunderstood the value of its senior sales leadership. I never had to utter a single word. The numbers spoke for themselves. Exactly 1 year after Vanessa declared my package outdated, I sat in my expanded Pinnacle office, reviewing our annual figures. My division had generated $26.3 million in revenue, surpassing even my ambitious projections. My team had expanded from 2 sales representatives to 11, complete with dedicated client support staff. We'd relocated to a larger floor in the building, and Daniel had even alluded to an upcoming board position. On my desk, I kept a photograph. From our division's holiday dinner, relaxed faces, genuine smiles, a team that grasped what I'd always believed. Business fundamentally thrives on trust. My assistant buzzed. "There's a Vanessa Claymore here to see you. No appointment." I paused, then nodded. "Send her in." Vanessa looked changed, less polished, more fatigued. Her designer suit had been replaced by something clearly off the rack. "Thank you for seeing me," she said, remaining standing even after I gestured to a chair. "What can I do for you?" "I'm with Hamilton Group now," she explained. "Business consulting. I was hoping to get your perspective on Pinnacle's approach to client retention for a case study I'm developing." I nearly laughed at the sheer irony. "Believe you already know my approach," I stated. She nodded stiffly. "I made a miscalculation. At Trillock, you did. The market is buzzing about how you brought down a company without uttering a word," she continued. "That's a powerful reputation." I offered no response. Vanessa hadn't come for a case study. She sought absolution or reconciliation. I was offering neither. After a moment of uncomfortable silence, she placed her business card on my desk. "You ever want to discuss industry trends?" "I appreciate the offer," I interrupted, standing. "But I'm fully booked these days." After she departed, I glanced at the card, then dropped it into the shredder. That evening, I drove to my daughter's new home for dinner. She'd just been promoted to senior architect at her firm. "How's work, Dad?" she inquired as we relaxed on her patio. "Good," I answered plainly. "Building something that'll last." I genuinely was. Not with timber this time, but with the identical principles that had steered my entire career. Do the work. Honor your promises. Value relationships above mere transactions. Act. Ultimately, Vanessa had bestowed upon me an unforeseen gift. She had compelled me to demonstrate to myself and to every observer the true enduring worth of 15 years of trust.